Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, and Kakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, being great examples to our young brothers. Peace and blessings to those who elect, Lord willing, to be a part of that number. I'm the brother Kudar from the G-Men's Branch, Chicago. Welcome back to another video. This video is going to be entitled, What Spirit Are You Exuding Around the Body of Yahawashi? Okay, and I'm going to grab this definition for the word exude or exuding. It says to discharge or release liquid / smell slowly like sop or sweat, or to conspicuously display a quality of or feeling such as confidence or charm. Okay, it implies a gradual outward projection of substance or emotion. So what spirit are you coming in around brothers? Now in these times it's important to encourage one another, man. We shouldn't be down when we're around one another. We shouldn't just be in that sluggish spirit. We have to encourage each other, strengthen each other with the words of Yahawashi, because around each other, all right, is where our spiritual batteries recharge. Okay. All right. Around each other is when we're not around the world. And that's when we could be ourselves again. There is no mask, And when we're around the world, all right, best believe your battery is being drained. Okay. But when we're around the body, all right, the scripture describes us as lively stones. We recharge each other and strengthen each other through the words of Yahawashi. Okay. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. I looked this up on ChatGPT. It's a trend I've been seeing bros do recently, and I wanted to try it out myself. This 1 Thessalonians 5:11. It says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. Okay. So that's what we have to do. Through the words of Yahawashi, because we going through the ringer right now. But brothers are going through it. You can see it in their face when you're around brothers. That's why it's important to encourage your brother, admonish your brother. And it's truth. Once you hop in the spirit, it'll heal whatever you're going through. And that's the power of this word, man. It quickens us. It makes us alive. Okay. So what energy are you exuding around the body of Yahawashi? Is it a sluggish spirit? All right. Is it a dispassionate spirit? Is it a encouraging and admonishment type of spirit? Is it a nurturing type of spirit? Is it a wicked type of spirit? All right, Salakia. Let's see. All right, cool. This is Hebrews 10 and verse 22. It says, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our minds sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. It says, verse 23, let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. Okay. It says, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. Okay, let's read that in the AMP, in the Amplified version. It says, and let us consider thoughtfully how we may encourage one another to love and to do good deeds. So that's the task of being a man of the Lord. The scriptures say iron sharpeneth iron. Hey, so with you, a part of being a brother, a part of showing charity is encouraging your brother. Okay, strengthening him. That's good. This God is word for provoke.
Strong's G 3948.
It says inciting and incitement, irritation. That's God is word for inciting. Encourage or stir up violent or unlawful behavior. It says stir up, egg on. So we're encouraging a believing in Yahawashi to continue to stay on this right path. Okay? While the world is trying to drag you down, all right, stand around the body, the spirit of the Lord, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst thereof, man. That's how you stay locked in. That's how you stay grounded. And the more you're away from the men of the Lord, all right, the more you just seep into that darkness and Satan just take advantage of you, give you weird ass thoughts, about brothers and different things, man, giving you different scenarios that's completely bugged out, Hey, but that's why we have to continue to be around the body and continue to be brotherly, man. And encourage one another. All right, it says, verse 25, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the men, I said as the men, as the manner of some is, okay, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. So as we see the day approaching, we are so close, Akim. Okay? So we have to hold on to this, man. Scripture say, hold that fast which thou hast, and let no man take thy crown. So we got to continue to hold on. Let's read that in AMP. It says, not forsaking our meeting together as believers. As a matter of fact, let me grab this. Spirit telling me to grab the NLT on that one. What the fuck is going on here? That's so bugged out, man. That doesn't happen. That's bugged out, man. Salakia. Let me just grab the NIV. That doesn't happen, man. This Hebrews 10:25 in NIV. Not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Okay? So we can't forsake the gathering of the assembly. Hey, you have to be around the brothers. All right? You have to continue to soak your ears in the wisdom of the elders. And that's how you grow. Okay? Let me grab this one from this chat GBT. It says, let's see. This is a good one right here. This 1 Samuel 30 and verse 6. It says, but David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Even in distress, it says, you can strengthen yourself in the Lord. Okay, and that's the whole point. We have to strengthen ourselves, man. Read these words. Read these scriptures. All right, Romans 15:3, the things written aforetime were written for our learning. Okay? Hey, this is the tool book. All right, hey, this is the tool book, man. Let's grab this Luke 22 and verse 29. Luke 22 and verse 29. It says, I'll start at 28. It says, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father have appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Salakia. This blue letter sometimes does that. All right. It says, verse 31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. All right, I'm going to grab this word for sift. All right, let's grab this. Okay, because ultimately that's Satan's job. All right. We have our job, and Satan also has his job because he's a servant of the Lord. Okay. His job is to try to get us the fuck up out of here. All right. To bug you out, to spread doubt in your mind, to give you wicked thoughts, to have you assume different things, man. It says to sift, shake, and a sieve by inward agitation, to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. And that's Satan's job. And to combat that, you have to pray. You have to fast. You have to be around the Akim. All right. End of story. You have to combat Satan. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says, verse 32, but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. Okay, so Yahawashi is praying for us, man. It says, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. All right, and this is really what I wanted to get right here. I'm going to read this verse 32. Let's see if it works now in this NLT, man. Because that's some bullshit, whatever. It says, verse 32 in the AMP, but I have prayed especially for you, Peter, that your faith and confidence in me may not fail. And you, once you have turned back again to me, strengthen and support your brothers in the faith. All right, this got his word for converted. Okay. It says to cause to return, to bring back. Okay. To the love and obedience of Yahweh. Salaki. Yeah, let's grab his word for strengthen. It says to make stable, place firmly, set fast, fix. To strengthen, make firm, to render constant, confirm one's mind. All right, what's this? Sterizo?
Strong's G 4741. Sterizo.
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 Sterizo. All right, let's read that one more time. It says, but I have prayed for thee that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. And that's what we got to do. We got to encourage our brothers. We got to strengthen them through the Spirit. Okay? Of the different trials you've been through. All right, growing brothers' faith. Your faith has been grown. The Lord put you through that experience. You got the spiritual XP. All right, you got that boost in the spirit, that spiritual Zenkai boost for bros that watch Dragon Ball Z. You could pass on that experience, that wisdom to different brothers, man, to aid them in their battles or to prevent them from going into something similar because you already went through it. Let's grab this Hebrews, man. All right, because this is the spirit we have to be in. All right, exhorting one another. All right, don't just come around, brothers, with in that woe is me spirit. That's not the spirit to be in right now. We in war right now, man. All right, what's the quote in the world? If you're scared, go to church. All right, if you was fearful and doubting, your ass would go home. All right, now ain't the time to be pushing that spirit, man, like that. One of my favorite scenes of all time, man, in Apocalypto. All right, when his father pulled him to the side and warned him about fear. He said that shit is a disease that spreads. Okay. If I want to grab this in the blue letter as well, man. There's some heat right here through the spirit. Call Yahawashi. All right, and Lord willing, this is edifying. The messages being taken as I'm trying to explain it, man. As I'm trying to break it down. This Hebrews 3 and verse 12. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil mind of unbelief or an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living power. Okay, let's read that in the AMP. Take care, brothers and sisters, that there not be in any of you a wicked and unbelieving heart. Okay, which refuses to trust and rely on the Lord, a heart that turns away from the living power. Right now, in these times, hey, I just made a video on that a few days ago. Hey, I don't know what you're going through, but Yahawashi wants you to trust him. Hey, the shit we're going through right now, the Lord is screaming at us to trust him, man. It's like your coach. The Lord is screaming at you to trust him. And we have to trust him in our day-to-day lives, man. Okay, seeking seeking counsel from the Lord before we do different things, man. You know, listening to that voice. Okay, hey, these are the times that we're in. Hey, because we're in some heavy times, man. If you don't listen to instruction from Yahawashi, hey, your ass can die, man. Hey, look at Moses. All right, hey, the Lord told him, hey, the Lord gave him instruction. All right, he got in the heat of his anger, he didn't take heed. Okay. And just for that, he wasn't allowed to go to the promised land, man. You know, it says, verse 13, but exhort one another daily while it is called today. So that's what we have to do. We have to exhort one another, man. Okay. Lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. It says, but continually encourage one another every day. That's the spirit that we have to be in. Let's grab his word for exhort, Salakia. It says, to admonish, to exhort, all right, to console, to encourage, or you got to match these words by the definitions by the words. It says, Salakia, the words by the definition. To console, to encourage and strengthen by consolation, to comfort. All right. To receive consolation, be comforted. To encourage, strengthen, exhorting and comforting and encouraging. All right. Constantly praying for brothers. All right. Constantly talking about the kingdom, the reward that we're about to receive. Okay. These heathens, these people are about to get judged, man. Those are sweet things in our ears. That keeps us going. Because what else? Where are we going to fall back to? All right. This shit is over with, man. Ain't nowhere else. Ain't nowhere else for us to go. Like Peter said, thou has the words of eternal life. Hebrews 3:14. For we are made partakers of Hamashiach if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. So we have to endure unto the end. All right. Hey, Apostle Rakah was just here, last week, it was very spiritual, man. So much nuggets in the spirit. We needed that. We needed that, for, in our camp, through the spirit. It was much needed. Very encouraging, man. And one thing he said, one of the many things he said that stuck out to me, he was saying, hey, you brothers are going through it, but you brothers going to be all right, man. And he took a pause. All right. And then he said, as long as you continue in the faith, So as long as you continue in the faith, man. So like, 1 second. Hey, Shalom, you see that? You parking on the yellow spot. Park in front of me. It's because that lady was complaining, huh? Or park, I think she'll complain. Fuck it. Park in front of me, bro. Salaki. Yeah, Salaki. Back to what I was saying, man. There's nowhere else for us to go, man. Fuck this place. Okay. This place is done. This place is weak. This place is gay. Yahawashi Malshai is going to destroy this place and anybody who wants to participate in it. Okay, who wants to stay in it? Like the scriptures say, remember Lot's wife. Okay. It's 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 11. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. Okay. So we have to comfort one another, encourage one another, build each other up through the spirit. In front of that black truck. I'm just talking to a brother. It says, let's grab this in an NIV. Okay, it says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Hey, that's our mission. to not only to build up ourselves, all right, because that's what the word edify goes to. All right, it goes to build. We're building. All right, and also edifying and building the believers. You know, the true worshipers of Yahawashi. You see? So I'm about to head to class. Lord, when this is edifying, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawashi, Bashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those who elect, Lord willing, to be a part of that number. Shalom, Kwame Sharala, and the Bible Ball.